talk about Eric Clapton's version of Over the Rainbow. Hopefully you checked it out, the live version. It's really beautiful. Really great reharmonizations to it. And it has that special touch that Clapton kind of brings to everything he plays. If you've heard his other jazz standard versions, like of Autumn Leaves, Our Love Is Here to Stay, Moon River, he always puts a nice touch on it. Check out also his arrangement of How Deep Is the Ocean. I happen to have transcriptions and my arrangements of all of his arrangements of those jazz standards are all available, of course, on Patreon, so check it out if you're a Patreon member. But today is Over the Rainbow, probably one of the most popular songs ever in history. Hey David, good to see you. Let's see if Dave from Colorado is going to show to get the whole crew back here. Yeah, please type in the chat where you are, where you're at, who you are. Is today the first day of spring, by the way? We have to do a spring song coming up here. Maybe we'll do Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most. I always love that tune. But not today. We're doing Over the Rainbow today by Clapton. I love Clapton's arrangement of this. It's very special. And it's got some really sweet chords I'm excited to share with you. So let's go ahead and grab your guitar, get that lead sheet here on Patreon. It'll take you to Patreon. You don't have to join if you're not a member, by the way, even though I highly recommend it. It's a great community of players like you, like Yukon. Welcome, Jim. And this is what you'll get. It's just my own arrangement of it, my own lead sheet, with the chords that Clapton is playing live with his stellar band back then. Billy Preston on the keys, Nathan East on the bass, Steve Gadd on the drums. Gosh, I'm probably missing somebody, someone else on the rhythm guitar, I forgot his name, but killer studio musician band basically that he has. And that's part of what makes the arrangement so special, is some of the reharmonizations and chord choices that they're using for that. So hopefully you checked out my other lesson, by the way, on Over the Rainbow. I have the TK version of it. I usually play it as a bossa nova, so, and I do jazz it up as well. So this one's got some little special chords that are very Clapton-fied. Type in the chat where you're at and who you are. Of course, if you're a Patreon member, I know most of you now, and I know most of you are watching are Patreon members. These live streams started for you as a thank you for the anniversary of being on Patreon. I think it was my 7th anniversary last September, and I started to do these live streams just as a way to communicate with you all in the mornings. But of course, these are YouTube videos. Many of these just get archived, and then they get put on Patreon and no longer public on YouTube. You can also access it, by the way, if you didn't already know this, as a YouTube Tracy Kim member. You can join and then get access to all of my videos. You just don't get access to my PDFs and tabs, and that's why I recommend Patreon. And the sound slice practice videos. So Clapton is playing Over the Rainbow in the key of E. Okay, the Jazz Fake Book is E flat, and that's how I usually play it. But I really love the key of E. I mean, we're guitar players, right? So we had E major, and he kind of just does this long jam to introduce the band live, and they're grooving on an E on a 1-6-2-5. So again, let me just explain what 1-6-2-5 is. It's really, what's important is the bass line. You got, in the key of E, you've got E. The 6 is C sharp, that's also called the relative minor, except they make it dominant to make it jazzy and bluesy. And then the 2 is F sharp, and then the 5 is B. And they put a nice little slow shuffle feel. So map out that bass. 1, you can even say 6, 2, 5, 5, 1, 6. Really laid back. 6, 2, 5. Maybe try the 1 here. 1, boom, boom, boom. 6, 2, 5, 5, 1. 6. And that's my cats playing, if you're wondering what's going on. But don't worry, there's not a earthquake happening here in Portland. So again, what I'm saying is, the first step, map out the bass line, 1, 6, 2, 5, and this is a stock intro. You can always use 1, 6, 2, 5 live, especially. You know, I always kind of kid when the band, you know, they're searching for their sheet music. You're just grooving 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay, so now we have the bass line all mapped out. 1, 6, 2, 5, E, C sharp, F sharp, and B. Now we got to put these cool chords to it. And again, what I would recommend is that you grab the tabs right here, because I have the melody tabbed out and I have the chords mapped out in grids. So I'm going to show it to you live right now. E for the key of E, the 1. Now the 6 is supposed to be C sharp minor. If you're jazzed it up, it'd be C sharp minor 7. But what's special is Clapton chose this chord, C sharp 9. So instead of C sharp minor, let's play C sharp, and not a dominant 7, but a dominant 9. And then I'm going to show you the trick behind this too. So play C sharp 9, got the C sharp, got the E sharp, which is just called F, the C flat, or B sharp rather, and then the D sharp. So I'll say it in tabs, because I know you all love tabs. 4, 3, 4, 4. And that's kind of your common James Brown funk chord, you know. So we have this. Now the trick of this that makes it so special to Clapton is you want to play the C sharp 9 like this, a 4-note shape, and then you want to add on the E string, and that now creates a sharp 9, like it's the Purple Haze chord. But check it out, you got the natural 9 and the sharp 9 together. It's very special. Isn't that cool? So the open E. Listen to it in context. Okay. E, C sharp 9, add sharp 9. It's very cool. So just groove on that for a second. And then plain old F sharp minor 7. I often do it like this. You can do it like this. Most people are used to doing this. But you can do it like this if you're a jazzer. That's what I call the grip shape, where you're not doubling the C sharp. You just do it here. And if you do it this way, which I'm going to do it, you hit that open E. The open E on the first string is a really nice string that can just be used throughout. So check it out so far. And then B9, just like the C sharp 9, but now we're on B, this is the 2nd fret. You have the 1, 3, flat 7, the 9, and then yes, we're going to add the open E string again. That's the 11. So that E note ringing throughout is really sweet. Of a shuffle, and let that open E ring a little bit right there. And it's a light shuffle feel, not quite a 12/8 feel. You could. That's a 12/8 feel. This is more of just a 4/4 feel, the shuffle. Those are really special chords. Let's go through that again if you didn't get it. You got an E major, open chord, what I call a cowboy chord. Now the C sharp 9, and then add on the E string. So it's a C sharp 9 with a sharp 9. Add sharp 9. Okay, it's very special. And then F sharp minor 7, I'm doing it like this. You can do it like this if you prefer. And then the B9 with the added E string, which is the add 11 or add 4 if you wish to call it that even. But it should be called an 11 because it's above, you have a 9 and you have a flat 7, so it should be called an add 11. Very special again. Adding a little backbeat, a little percussion, because I don't have a drummer today. Steve Gadd couldn't make it over to my place. He was busy. Really fun groove. Dominique Flores, good to see you. I haven't met you. Sometimes I wrap my thumb around, and Clapton does this lick. Little bluesy fill if you want to throw on the blues fill like this. You can throw in those little licks. It's nice to have a band behind that when you're throwing in those licks, but you can just throw it in. Those little bass runs. Then you go in some leads. We'll talk about that in a second, the Clapton approach to soloing over 1-6-2-5. It's very bluesy, very soulful, very simple, and yet sophisticated harmonically because of the chord movement. So I'll talk about that. That's generally what I call, for me, for my teaching, I call that the easy soloing strategy approach, number 1. So if you're on Patreon, check out all of my easy soloing strategy because I go through that very thoroughly, and there's a lot of PDFs. So that's the approach we would want to use for this song for improv on that 1-6-2-5. Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate the thumbs up here if you are new and don't know the routine. Know the etiquette. If you're enjoying this, I appreciate it. Please grab the tabs. It's in the lead sheet. It's available for your educational purposes only. So we have the chords. I could groove on that all day, and we'll come back to that for some soloing, some ideas, talk about some improv using the pentatonic scales, major and the minor and the blues scales. But let's go on to the song. There's a lot more to talk about with this classic song. So he's introducing the band, 1-6-2-5, and then he starts somewhere over the rainbow. So let's talk about that first phrase here. You got an E major, and then instead of the 6 as a dominant, which is bluesy and great for the intro, he's doing it as a C sharp minor 7, because that's what the song has, that kind of minor quality. It's sad. And the 1 and the 6, they're the same chord essentially. If you added a 6 onto the E, that's C sharp minor 7, but it's different and more powerful when you have it in the bass. So you want to get that C sharp in the bass, and it's really just singing the octave somewhere. And then the 3 chord, G sharp minor 7, over. And then now the cool, if you don't know G sharp minor 7, or like this, over the rainbow. That's the jazzy reharm that you're gonna love. D sharp minor 7, and then B flat or A sharp 7 flat 5. Very kind of a Jobim and Django Reinhardt inspired chord. So you have D sharp minor 7, and then A sharp or B flat, whatever you want to call it again, doesn't matter to me. B flat 7 flat 5 to the A major 7. That's tritone substitution, by the way, for E7. And now that brings us to the 4 chord, A major 7. You get that open E if you want. So D sharp minor 7, and on my chart here I wrote it as a B flat 7 flat 5, just so you know, and then the A major 7, because to me E, that's E to B flat, is tritone. So if you're watching these live streams, hopefully you've been checking out and going through all my chord routines. Today I'm not going through the basics of all the 7th chord, the grip chords, but I have that documented on many, many lessons at the beginning of many of these lessons, where I'm actually warming up, going through all of these 7th chords and secondary dominants and all that stuff. Today I just want to get straight to the song. Please type in the chat where you are, where you're at, who you are. It's great to see people from all over the world. John Ziggy, thank you for joining. So let's play that first phrase again. Over the rainbow, skies are blue. So after that A major 7, you want to put a D sharp 7. That's the secondary dominant. That's the 5 of the G sharp minor, which is the 3, and you should do a 7. Jazz it up. The rhythm guitar player in the video there, the live video, Clapton's band, does this little walk down, and you'll see that quite and hear that quite often on a 2-5 phrase. So in this case, G sharp minor 7 to C sharp 9. Most of the dominant chords are treated as 9th chords, a la Clapton. That's one thing you can start to do if you want to jazz up your dominant chords, is make them as 9th chords. Okay, so you have this. So far we have this. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. And that's C sharp 9. Oh, I sang the wrong words. The skies are blue are the second time, so be way up high, but you get the idea. And then we want to go to F sharp minor 7. And this would be land that I heard of. To this F sharp minor, there's D dominant 9. That's a sub, kind of a 2-5 for the A minor D9, like it's a 2-5. And that would be the A minor. This is how I usually think of it, especially for improvisation. I think of it as A minor 6, but here's D9. And I did a lesson on Corcovado recently that demonstrated these. A minor 6, the first chord, D9, 7th chord. So again, that's F sharp minor 7. There's a... And why do D9 instead of A minor 6? Because it makes it sound more bluesy. If you want it a little bit more sad, then do the A minor 6, okay? So you can do this. There's a... That makes it a little bit more sad if you go to A minor. If you want it bluesy, you go to D dominant 9. There's a... Funny thing is, you could solo your approach the same for either chord, and you can even go 2-5 like this. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Get bluesy. Where over the rainbow, really do come true. And then we can go into some soloing, but there's a B section we should do first. Really beautiful reharmonization of this, especially this D sharp minor 7, because usually it's a B minor 7 to the E9 to the A major. So this has caught me off guard when I first was listening to it. I was like, ooh, that's cool. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with you all. So let's go through the chords again for this A section here. We have E major, somewhere 6, C sharp minor 7, over G sharp minor 7, and then here's that D sharp minor 7, to the B flat 7, flat 5, A major 7. And then D sharp 7, that's secondary dominant. There's a lot of secondary dominants. And that's the secondary dominant. The C sharp 9, that's a 5 of the 2. And then to the 2, F sharp minor 7, D9, that's the borrowed chord, the borrowed flat 7, or the minor 4, if you want to think of it that way. And then G sharp minor 7, do that lick again. Rainbow, then once in a lullaby. Let's just jam on that without talking. get to the B section. Any questions on that? Feel free to ask. It's nice to have some interaction, so I know there's some folks on the other end. Tell me if you enjoy Clapton as much as I do. If you're on Patreon, I do have my own arrangements, and you can check it out on YouTube as well. First of all, his version of Autumn Leaves is really beautiful. It's in B minor too, so Spyro, thank you so much. Glad you're here. It's a really sweet version. His version of How Deep is the Ocean is really beautiful. I'm a Chet Baker fan, so I've always loved that song via Chet. But I love Clapton's version of it as well. It's very soulful. His version of Moon River with Jeff Beck is really great. I've got that transcribed, my own arrangement of it, inspired and pretty close to what Jeff Beck does at the intro with Eric Clapton, if you haven't checked that out. Old Folks Who Live on a Hill, Our Love Is Here to Stay. That's all on Patreon if you want to grab my arrangements for solo guitar. These are all inspired by the Clapton versions. If you are into the Clapton side of things, check out him. A lot of people don't know that he did in a couple albums singing jazz standards. It's great. So let's take it to the B section here. Exactly, Billy Preston is always known, will be known for that session there up on the rooftop. Really, for the Beatles, Let It Be, right? So, someday I'll wish upon a star. By the way, if you haven't already grabbed it, you can please feel free to download that PDF that I put out there for your educational purposes only. And it has the grids. Uh-oh, don't look at that phone number. Somebody just called me. I have to edit that out. Someday, so we had that one chord. Someday I'll wish upon a star. F sharp minor 7. Behind me. See that lick? So if you're not familiar with that 2-5 lick, you gotta learn this. Hit the G sharp minor 7, and then go right to the root. This is 2-5 101 right here. 2-5 101. 2-5 licks 101. So G sharp minor 7, whack it 1, and then go 2-0 let 3, and then hit the C sharp 9. Okay, it's a very important little fill for all jazz guitar players to get on a 2-5. You see this on the chart, G sharp minor 7, C sharp 9, but you do this. And it was just a sequence, so it's just G sharp minor 7, C sharp 9, F sharp minor 7, B 9. Of course, the chart might just say C sharp 7, respectively, and B 7. However, it's nice to make them into 9th chords. So again, the lyric is, someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Okay, let's go on. Where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops. Where troubles melt like lemon drops, way up above. Oops. Oh, that's where the reharmonization comes in. So we get the E, and it's not the same here, but it goes to A sharp minor 7 flat 5, way above. So get that chord there. That's new for you. It's like a minor 7, but you want to flat the 5th. It's darker, the flat 5s, and then go to D sharp 7. So it's a 2-5 going to the 3. Find me. You can do that. And then the last day, somewhere over. And that's where we're going to do the reharm there. When I say reharm, that means we're changing the chords or reharmonizing it. And again, this is pretty common in the jazz stylings, but it's great to use it for pop arrangements too, or pop jazz arrangements, to take something that you would normally do, like the 1 chord, and replace it with the sharp 4 minor 7 flat 5 to create a sequence. You could do a lot of various reharmonizations. That brings something that way you reharmonize the melody The singer is still going to sing the same notes, but by you changing the harmony underneath it, reharmonizing it, it brings an unexpected surprise to the music. So that's what's so beautiful about it. And I know I really appreciate and love when players take the time and reharmonize some melodies. So definitely learn those tricks of reharmonizing. You can do it on the fly once you start to know these tricks. So let's do that second phrase into the last A section, which we'll call the C section because of the reharm. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. And then somewhere. So that's A sharp minor 7 flat 5 for the C section, D sharp 7 flat 9. You can do D7 if you want. And then back to the G sharp minor. Over the rainbow, birds fly. You're gonna get tired of that lick. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why? Don't know why can't I? And then we're off into some soloing. You could do chord soloing. There's a lot of good stuff that we can talk about for soloing. Actually, I've already talked about it in my other lesson, my Somewhere Over the Rainbow lesson, of how I like to approach soloing on that song with some ideas. But one thing that I do recommend is to make sure that you can play chords. I know it kind of seems funny. Tracy, how do you solo? I'm like, play chords. Because I think if you have a good knowledge of chords and triads and seventh chords all over the fretboard, that helps you. But don't worry, I'm gonna show you, that's the convoluted, long approach to trying to learn and master the fretboard. The easy way is just to use Pentatonics. Oh, the easiest way, and the most beautiful way, learn the melody. If you're gonna take a solo, just learn the melody, play the melody, and embellish around the melody. You can't go wrong with that. It's an old formula that works from the beginning of jazz. So learn the tune. I might just grab my Strat here and talk about a little bit about the soloing approach. What do you guys think of all those lovely chords? You got them all? So sweet. And then you can just groove on this on the outro. If you're gonna do it live, you know, that's when you just reintroduce your band. Always give your band credit, because they're the ones who are making you sound good. Thanks, Jeff Sparrow. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then a big E chord. And then this chord. That's a very special chord, and it's written there on the very end there if you want to check it out again on that free tabs PDF. I'm going to show you this ending chord. I'm actually going to show you the little cool final cadence that they do there, the band. They do this F major 7, C major 7, G major 7, B9, or B11 rather, and then this chord, Lydian, and that's G sharp minor 11 with the E in the bass, which people just often call E major 7 sharp 11 or E Lydian chord. So let's go ahead and pretend we're jamming out here at the end of the song. that open E? Isn't that sweet? I love this chord. This is the magic chord right here. C sharp 9, and then the sharp 9. So C sharp 9 add, you have to be careful how you say it. C sharp, someone said, what chord is that? C sharp 9, sharp 9, right? Isn't that funny? But you should say C sharp 9, add the sharp 9. So you have both the natural 9 and the sharp 9. And you get this. It's very special. And then B9, add 11. For us guitar players, it's so easy because we have that open E ringing. So you get that nice. Don't forget to add that little bluesy fill. I'll show you it to you right here. Right here. So we're gonna do this. Right on this second position here. 2-4 hammer. 2-4-2. 4-2. 4-3-2. It's like an F sharp minor pentatonic lick on the F sharp minor. If you're wondering, how do I use that? Right on the 2 chord. So he's actually playing to the chord like a jazzer. Make sure you get that triplet. Da 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 da. And get that grace note in the hammer. And then back up like it's a. That's an E major penta. So this already gets us into soloing. And then we can do our Lydian. Clapton actually is doing a Lydian scale there. I don't hear Clapton play Lydian mode so much, so it's sweet to hear him do the Lydian. Do you all know a little quiz here? If we're doing E Lydian scale, what's the formula? I'm quizzing you all here. I gotta do some music theory with you in the morning. What's the formula for a Lydian scale, first of all? And what's the major key that we're in if we're on E Lydian? Just for that ending chord. You know how jazzers, I'm always saying, end on the Lydian scale. I have a great hack to share with you too. By the way, if you're enjoying this live stream, I appreciate this. That helps a lot. And don't forget to like and subscribe and join me on Patreon, all that stuff. So E Lydian is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Think of it as a major scale. That's okay, Sprout. Here's a major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's your E major scale. That's the scale you would just be in if you're in the key of E. But if you want it the Lydian mode, you raise the 4th degree. So you go 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, and then the 5. You can do this chord. Okay, and that gives you that Lydian flavor. Here's a Lydian chord. Yes, B major, Dave, you got it. You're in the key of B major. So if you wanted to, you could think B major scale. But it's nice for the modes to think off of the root of the mode that you're on. So again, if that chord, that ending chord is E major 7, sharp 11, then you can run the. It's just, again, a B major scale starting on E. That's called the Lydian mode. Fancy mode names. The modes are basically just starting on a different degree of the parent scale. And usually it's the major scale that we know of as Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. Those are the Greek church modes. Enough theory talk here. Let's go back to some jamming ideas. The major penta. And the minor. I'm using the sliding scale throughout, if you didn't already notice that. Of course, we want to learn our major penta and minor pentas all over the fretboard in 5 positions to connect them. But this one hack is think in the diagonal method where you're starting on E and you go 1, 2, 3. That's a pentatonic scale, by the way. 5, 6. And then go up another octave. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then go up the next octave. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, if you can. Ooh, that was 4 octaves here. So we have 1, 2, 3. This is not tabs, this is the formula. And this is, again, how I recommend all of you who are on Patreon know my teachings, that I'm really big on memorizing your formula so that you understand the degrees, because that way we can alter things later. So don't, at first you might just learn it in tabs and just rock out on it, but you want to eventually learn the formula so that you can do it anywhere and everywhere. So let's do this together. Now I'm going to tell you tabs so that you actually learn this E major penta. And this E major penta works great on the 1, 6, 2, 5. Gives it a really sweet sound. Okay. And then if you want, that's the E major penta, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I'm going to talk in terms of the tabs here. Got the open 2, 4, starting on the open E. Next string, this is tabs, 2, 4. Next string, 2, 4, 6. It's the same pattern as that 6th string, and then underneath it, 4, 6. Now the next string, the 2nd string, 5, 7, 9. Next string, 7, 9. And you might as well end it on the E, 12th fret. Now my little hack that I love to do that I share with students is, once you reach this E on the top, which is 2 octaves higher from where we began this, then I go down the minor penta right here in this 9th position. This is C sharp. This is where it's important to know E major penta is related. It's a relative major and minor to C sharp minor. And that way you can bust out your minor pentatonic and blues legs. They're the same scale, the same 5 notes, if you're just staying within that pentatonic. So you have E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, E. And if you go down in this, staying now in position, you have E, C sharp, B, G sharp. I better stop saying that. F sharp, E, C sharp, B, G sharp, F sharp, E, C sharp, B, G sharp, F sharp, E. Give it a try. Gives it that really sweet, sweet feels and sounds. Throw in that little lick. Once we get here, we could then shift into this position. And this would be the E major penta in position. So again, it's nice to learn your pentatonic scales in positions, 5 positions, and or use this diagonal connector, the hack, the sliding scale, I refer to it, to connect the different and go through the 5 positions. It's very lyrical to slide too. So I recommend that you can put that blue note too. Throw on those blues licks, the G natural, and then G sharp. Do da do da doom doom da da doom. And the fill. And allow these blues licks kind of pianistic style. You throw in a lot of those organ style licks. And then you want to go to the minor. This is the strategy, is after you bathe in the sun, no, not sunlight, it's sunny today, so you got the major penta. It's so sweet. You can add the 4 on by bending. You can add the flat 7, and if you want to kind of spice up. That 4th degree is not in the penta, but it's such a feel-good vibe to get the 4, da 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 da. Add that in liberally, and maybe add some chromatics if you want to start to jazz up your playing. Da 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 da. Yes, it does kind of sound like the solo in something, but that's how you do it. You just fill in the blanks here, connecting the penta. And don't forget to sing what you play. Do da da do da 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 do da da. May add some chords. And keep that groove with these special chords, a la Clapton. Now let's get bluesy. So when I say get bluesy, even though the band is playing E, C sharp 9, add sharp 9, F sharp minor 7, and B9 add 11, even though they're playing that, you can get really bluesy by thinking G major penta. Why am I saying G major? So I could do this. I could start on G, do that same scale shape, the shape. So I'm thinking that G major, but it sounds bluesy over the E major. You get that nice, what they call cross relations. You get that sharp 9 over that sweet quality. So that would be over the major chord. That's the whole element of the blues. Start on the root, E, and then go quickly 3 frets higher, and then start your major penta. So it's E minor, penta, G major. So you're playing. And that's a great formula. That's what I call the easy soloing strategies. Works for rock, pop, jazz, blues, everything. So we have E major penta and E minor. And you want to mix and match pretty liberally. Major, minor, major. Maybe add the 4. Bluesy. And then again, you can get that major and minor. Just watch my easy soloing strategies when I talk about it. I actually demonstrate this on Autumn Leaves, Fly Me to the Moon, and a lot of these jazz standards don't get around much anymore because a lot of great jazz players from Oscar Peterson and whoever the early swing players too would get really bluesy on these jazz standards. Of course, that's a great approach from blues to jazz. It doesn't matter, pop music for that matter, to have, even, it breaks the theory rules, all right? You gotta remember, it breaks the theory rules, so you can't just live by the book. Because you can't just say, well, we're in the key of E major, you know, I have to play E major. No, you can play E minor. And that's what gives it that bite. And the band is doing this really sweet 1, 6, 2, 5. And you're going, and then you get sweet. Major. So, again, let me grab my Strat and just kind of demonstrate that scale. I hope you check out my easy soloing strategies lessons. if you like this, because it's a great, it's a great place to start for soloing. By the way, good reminder, if you haven't joined Patreon, please do so. The link is in the description. Grab that free PDF here of for your educational purposes only. And don't forget to do this. I really appreciate it. 3, 4. Let me add this. I want to make sure if you're just joining in, I don't want you to miss out it, because I just say 1, 6, 2, 5, but you got to remember these special chords: E major, C sharp 9, add sharp 9, add that E string. That's what makes it so special, this arrangement of Clapton, and I really want to be true to it. Then F sharp minor 7, and then B9 with the add 11. Get that open E. Oh, it's so sweet. I'm just gonna vamp on that for a minute. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hear that open E? That's an E major penta. That's a really sweet. And then if you want it bluesy, that's when you do the minor. And then back to the sweet. Major, minor, major. Don't forget this lick too. That he does. Major. So sweet. And then get minor. And then sweet. Minor. Major. Back and forth. Minor. Major. Target some of these chord tones too. And then on that final chord, Lydian. And my hack that I have to share with you is when you have a Lydian, you want that Lydian sound besides running and noodling around the scale. If I said E Lydian or E7, E major 7 sharp 11, just go down a half step from the root and you're on D sharp and play your minor penta. That way you can still play all your favorite pentatonic licks. So imagine the band's doing this as per Clapton. You do this. That was a little loud. That's how you create the Lydian. It's such a great hack. You go down a half step on the chord that you're on and play your minor penta. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. Let me know, I appreciate it. We'll see you back for the next one. Thanks again and have a lovely day. First day of spring. Cheers.